G'day, my name is Myles Clark and this is my origin story. So this is just an episode of the Making It Myles podcast where we talk all things building, construction, renos, advice for the real estate industry through the lens of a building inspector, and every now and then we dabble in some personal development because I like that type of shit and I think it's good for people. So on this episode, we will be having a chinwag about my origin story, everything about me, my experience, who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, what's ahead for me. So let's get straight into it. More or less, the reason this has all started is because I've been in the construction industry forever. Back in probably 2009 is probably when I started everything as a carpenter. And then to date now, I am a registered builder. I'm a licensed pest controller. I do building inspections, pre-purchase inspections. I've got a construction company, got a building inspection company. I also have another startup company, which is a technology company, which I'll go into as well. And then doing these the social posts and stuff like that to help try give back what I learned. One thing I understood from having a chinwag with friends in recent years is that I have realized I've learned a lot of shit, and it's very beneficial for a lot of people. And I thought, why not do what I can to help provide some value to some people. Some people it's not going to vibe with, and that's cool with me. Some people already know the answers. That's cool with me. Some people are going to fucking hate it. That's cool with me. I am totally easy. But more or less, it all came down to the start of the origin story. So for me, building and construction has been everything I've ever known and everything I've ever wanted to do. It's all I've ever enjoyed doing and found myself losing time doing it. And I think if you're looking to do something that you love, it's a necessity. They say do what you love. I think it's important. For me, I have this crazy memory when I was back in Romsey as a kid. Me and Dad went down to the local Mitre 10. We bought this it's like this timber nail together toolkit thing you do for kids. And I remember it was like a little money box. It was probably about yay high. I just had like one lid that opened up, had like, you put like 4 nails in it and you built this thing, right? I remember building that, and I would have been, like, this is back in Romsey when so we left there in grade 2. I would have been a preppy. I would have been maybe 6. And I vividly remember the moment building that, and it was like the best moment of my life. And I knew this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I want to build shit. So I realized that at about 6. From then, we moved to Sunbury, Victoria, and that's where I've been ever since. So based on that, did the usual shit. Went to the public schools. Didn't do very well at school because I already knew what I was going to do. So I was going to go and be a carpenter because that's what I knew was the best for a builder. So pretty much what I did is I think I had an enter score of like 48, which is like pretty low. It's not really great. Yeah, so pretty much what I did, finished all that up, finished school, went out, did a pre-apprenticeship at school in carpentry, certificate 2 in building and construction or something like that. Aced that. That was really easy, pretty boring. Got a job with one of the students in the class, had a job lined up with his uncle who also lived in Sunbury, literally around the corner. And that fell through. So he was looking for an apprentice. So I'd called him up, had an interview and got the job. Best opportunity I could ever ask for. If any apprentice is looking to get a job or do any sort of construction things, if you can get a gig where it's owner run, so you're on the tools with the boss as well as he's running the show, you're in a really good situation to not, one, going to get dealt shit jobs and have a shit apprenticeship and learn, fuck all. You're actually going to be in a situation where you get to learn how to do the trade plus how to run a business associated with it, which I think is the most important thing for especially young tradesmen these days, is making their skill into a business themselves, work for themselves, have control over themselves. I think it's much more beneficial for everyone, and it's definitely what I'm going to get my boys to be doing for sure. Started my apprenticeship in 2009 with Paul, Dynasty Constructions, and it was just me and him, which for me was the best thing I could have asked for. So I got to see construction through from set out, client relations, all the way through to the end of the job. As well as that, the benefit that I had working with him is that we did lots of different types of work. So we didn't just do, new homes. We did like renovations and extensions. We did period homes. We did high-end architectural homes. We worked on $25 million old double brick structures in Toorak. We've worked on small commercial projects, doing like fit outs and stuff like that. We worked on massive pergolas. We worked on full house builds. We did everything, and I was very lucky enough to learn everything from someone that's very experienced, who's done, again, from his point of view, that's all he did his whole entire life, is just work in construction as a chippy, then became a builder. And I learnt everything I learned so much. It was great. I was very, very lucky with that. After that 4-year apprenticeship, I ended up leaving and worked for a young chippy crew, Scotty and the boys, and just JSB, and that was fucking good fun. I realised when I left, or whenever I wasn't working with Paul, so if I was an apprentice and he had no work, he'd sort of ditch me off to somebody else as a bit of a labour hire. I realised I had some skills as a carpenter, which was great. So I knew what I needed to learn, and then when I went out with the other boys, they were all just young guys like me, similar age, and we all subbied for Scotty, and we worked for a couple of builders, again, doing high-end architectural homes, like, really schmicko joints in Northcote, Albert Park, just sort of everywhere in that area, which we, again, super grateful for. Just get in there, get the work done, have a yarn with the boys, have some lattes, have some coffees, talk shit. It was a fucking good time. It was really good, and again, learnt a lot from there as well. We learned how to do sort of different type of cladding systems, just do different types of work. It was hard work. It was good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I did that for, I think about 2 years, maybe 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. In that process, I knew that I wanted to try do a little bit more. It was getting a bit boring and a bit mundane and a bit easy. So I went to RMIT and I studied a Diploma of Building Construction semi full-time. So it was a course catered for people in the industry. So we fast-tracked the course to 2 years, and we did Mondays till, I think it was like 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night, Tuesday nights 5 till 9, and then Wednesday half day, which we did, I think it was midday till 7 at night. So I did that for 2 years, realized that I'm not stupid, and I had a good group of people around me, and we had a bit of a competition who could get the best. And because I really enjoyed the industry itself and I enjoy construction and all that sort of stuff, I gave it a good red hot crack, and I ended up being the top student of the year, got high distinctions in every subject that we did, and I made sure that when I leave, I'm going to do it right. And I've only ever done that with everything I do moving forward. If it's going to be done, it's going to be done right, and you got to have a crack at it. That's about it. So I did my so I did the Diploma of Construction while still subbing with Scotty and working on the tools with the boys. And then after that, I wanted to get into commercial construction, to give that a go, because I thought there'd be some good money in it. It'd be a bit challenging, get to manage a lot of people, do some interesting projects. I thought that'd be pretty sweet. So I did I did my due diligence. I went and spoke to all the teachers and asked who were the best builders, commercial builders. And then they gave me a list. And then I tried to contact every CEO of every big company like Hanson Yuncken and Built and fucking Multiplex and all these massive companies. I got through to the executive assistant of Kane Constructions for Tony Isaacson, who is a legend. And pretty much he said to me, like, he manages a company that turns over $500 million and fucking 700 employees. And he was just like, I don't do this anymore. But he passed me on to somebody else, Paul, and got looked after through there. So what ended up happening is, like, after a decent period of time, they were ready to employ a trainee site manager for their projects. And I was lucky enough to get that position for Kane Constructions. The most luckiest part out of all that is that I got to get put into a team, which was the A team at the time for Kane. And this team was full of fucking hardworking, very switched on, good group of people working at Epworth Hospital in Richmond, doing Pod 4, I believe. So I got put into the biggest job they had, with the best team they had, under the best site manager they had, and I was fucking stoked with that. It was very interesting going into that industry, coming from a carpentry background and stepping straight into a $150 million stage of works, building a hospital, and being a site manager, obviously a trainee site manager at the time, so I was learning the ropes, but fucking me, that was interesting times. The speed of construction then, the safety requirements needed was epic. But like most things, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I bust my ass and did whatever I could to ensure I did a good job. And I believe I did a good job. You only know until you go elsewhere. So once I went to another project with a different team, I realized, oh shit, I actually did pretty well that sort of year and a bit, and was pretty happy with myself. So I got moved around to projects and worked my way up pretty quickly. Did a project in Epworth, and then did one in Sunshine with Juzzy. Moved off to another job in Presbyterian Ladies College because that was struggling. So I got put onto that team and just sort of helped push out defects, continue structure, all that sort of stuff, and manage a lot of people. realized I didn't learn too much about construction, but I learned a fucking lot about people management and scheduling and programming and planning and contracts. I got a pretty good scope of it from all aspects of it, which I'm very lucky with. After that job, TI asked if I could work on another small project in the city, which is a temporary structure that gets built every 12 months. It's called M Pavilion. I didn't know much about it, but it was a job for me to run on my own, and I was like, fucking sweet. So I was stoked with that. So what I did is I got to be a part of something that I found out is actually pretty cool, and it actually changed my viewpoint of architects and interior designers and the whole design element in construction. Most builders and chippies and trades, we're not the best of friends with architects and interior designers. We think it's a bit wanky. I'm going to talk for the majority. There are probably some guys that think it's cool. That's fine, but it's changed my view completely. But M Pavilion, it was 2016 or 2017, not too sure. It was the bamboo structure, which was designed by Studio Mumbai. And that was 2 months full-time, 7 days a week. I had 1 day off in that whole process to build a bamboo structure in Queen Victoria Gardens in the middle of the city, over the road from the Arts Centre in Melbourne. And we had no plans, and we had no design. We had no engineering. We had like a little model about this big that was made out of bits of sticks. We had a shipments of bamboo and the carvey, which was the cladding that went on the roof, getting sent over from India, which was a little bit late. And that's about it. Once it all landed, there was nothing to work off. So it was good fun. I learnt how to work with architects, get the design right, get the engineering right. It had to be engineered, which is the difficult part. So we had to get engineers out. We had to do our own testing for the engineering, so it could actually, there was some sort of standard. It's called a performance solution to meet some sort of standard within construction. And we pulled it off. We did it. I had a little young American lackey with me coming over for a little trip, which was good fun. Other than that, I got friends and my old boss Paul to work for us, and I had days where I got scouts kids on site to do lashings for me because I needed labour. So I got some free labour and I mentioned in the Herald Sun, which was cool. And then we finished it on time, well under budget. Everyone made money. It looked fucking sweet. And it was, a really cool project. That was probably one of my favourite. That would be hands down one of my favourite projects I've ever done. It was just bamboo, two sticks of bamboo, a dowel through it, and then lashed, plus some cable ties and bullshit stuff we needed to meet the engineering requirements. But that was a tough project. It was probably tough on a lot of people at that time for me personally. And then, but yeah, that was it. And then during that process, we had things like soft launches, which I don't know if you don't know, a soft launch is like a wanky art exhibition they do for a project before it's launched. So we did that, and I got to walk around there and meet all these design students, and then I ended up getting them on board to do lashings for me as well for free labour, which was good. And then it was a very interesting time. These people that are in this industry, that are designers and architects and stuff like that, I was always, there is a bit of a wankiness to it, but they really do care. And like I can see now their point of view of why they do design, not just for the functionality. Like us blokes we just think, open a door, toilet, you use it and that's it. But they really think of that space and do some cool shit. So I was lucky with that. Did the actual launch itself, and we had like politicians and shit were there. It was cool. Got a picture with Julie Bishop. She was cool. And then after that, that's when I started getting my own projects with Kane. So the next project after that was Scotch College, and that was my last project with Kane Constructions, and that was the $7 million woodworking and electrical design technology section of the school in Scotch College in Victoria, which was fucking cool. Walked into that school, realised this is where I want to take my boys to school like this. There's fucking 2 MCGs in that joint. Unbelievable. People there were fantastic. Staff were awesome. The project was fucking sick. That was good. It was a good time. In that meantime, I had had my first son, Harrison. He was born, I think, during M Pavilion, I reckon. During M Pavilion, he would have been a little tacker. And then, we were living in Reels Creek at the time, and then we moved to Glen Iris, just near Scotch College, to make things a bit easier on the family, so I could help out where possible, be home and all that sort of stuff, as well as work. When you work in commercial construction as a site manager, they don't tell you that it's, you sign your life away for a company, which is the job. So I got to a certain point where I needed to choose between my thought at the time was pretty funny, right? My thought at the time was I need to choose family or work, because I'm like, if I stick around at this job, I'm going to end up like all these other site managers. I'll most likely be divorced and grumpy and just not doing what I really wanted to do. But I got so much out of them. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I got. I made them some money, so I guess that's all right. Told the boys that I'm going to leave because I couldn't do the 65, 70, 80, 90 fucking hour weeks, 6 days a week, continuously, all the time. Be there at 6:30. You're responsible for the job. Leave at 5:30 for 6 days a week for the rest of my life. I thought, fuck that. Anyway, I got offered a sick pay rise, which was very large, and then knocked it back because I needed my sanity, and family was very important to me, so I made sure that was all hunky-dory. And then left. I didn't have a job. I literally left and got nailbag back on, started swinging a hammer again, and it was the best decision that I ever made from that point. At that stage, I had a conversation with one of the boys when I was driving in and out of work, just struggling for cash at the time. It was just, when you're a trainee site manager, you don't earn a lot of money and you're working a lot of hours. So there's no like extracurricular work I can do, cashies and stuff, because I fucking barely have enough time for myself. And he recommended that I do building inspections. And I thought, what is a building inspection? Because I haven't bought a house before. And pretty much he goes, you can earn, you can speak to a couple of real estate agents and they just give you Guernseys and give you gigs, and you just get paid $500 to inspect a house to make sure it's not going to fall down for a client. And that's it. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. $500 for 2 hours worth of work. And then thought, fuck it. When I left Kane, I realized I had about an extra probably 30 hours of time in my life, from including the travel and the extra work, that I put into building another business, which was the inspection business. Now, on top of that, I had a lot of work I had to do. I had to get my builder's license. There's a lot of other things that needed to occur for that to sort of trigger and work well for me. So in the end, I ended up getting a random call from a random guy who he knew one of the other site managers that was that I'd worked with, and highly recommended me for whatever they're doing. And for me, I got the phone call and it was like, I'm only doing 40 hours of work a week, and I want to get paid by the hour, and this is me rate, because I was fucking pretty grumpy with where I was at and tired of it. And I knew I was worth that amount of money, and I knew I could contribute and help them with whatever they're doing. If it's building related, I knew I could fucking sort it out. And he was cool with that. And then we had another meeting and sat down, and it was like an interview where I felt like I was interviewing them in a way. I was like, all right, well, what do you guys bring to the table and this sort of stuff? And and then I wanted to know them personally, and I asked a few questions about what they get up to. And like, yeah, we'd take my kids to central New South Wales, and we on my mate's farm, and we just shoot some pigs. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I like this guy. I'm going to be a part of it. So I joined the team at Proline Construction Group, who were based more East Melbourne. And Matt and Andrew were fucking great. They were fantastic. I was very lucky to land that job with those blokes. And I sort of stepped in the role as an on-site site manager. So I was on the tools, running the job. It was a $1.2 million Reno extension in Hawthorn. So yeah, I just ran the job. And then I got to a certain point where I realized I've got much more to offer. And I said, you know what? I've seen the systems and all the things in the back end of the construction company, and I would love to make it better and improve it wherever I can, based on what I've learned from Kane Construction. So I pulled a lot of things together and created some much better safety folders and QA procedures and stuff like that for the business itself, just to help it grow and be better and all that sort of stuff. And then end up just sort of promoting myself to project manager rather than being on the tools. But every now and then, if it called, we'd get back, swing a hammer, make it happen. And then did a few projects with these guys which were all great clients. Some had some shitty neighbours, which we had to get around, but we resolved that. And throughout that process, again, I was back in the residential world. But from this point of view, I was doing more client relation stuff, dealing with neighbours, permit processes, managing, planning, everything I learnt in commercial construction, and just pulled it all into domestic, which helped heaps. So running like programs and that sort of stuff was a breeze. If you're not running 100 man, you're running 10. So that was probably, I was very lucky with that, because based on the back end of that, that's what helped me get my builder's license. So the idea to get your builder's license here in Victoria is you have to run really 3 projects as a builder to get your builder's license. You've got to put a portfolio together, you get harassed by the VBA with questions, that sort of stuff, which I was all over. My commercial experience meant absolutely nothing to them. So those few years I spent at Kane on paper meant nothing, but what I gained in experience was fantastic. So I'm very grateful for that. And the guys at Proline were fucking fantastic. So I was getting towards the back end where I was looking to do some jobs for myself. I was doing the inspection business was starting to tick over, and it was sort of time to leave. So I had some jobs lined up and I had to sort of leave. I'd wished that last project I finished it better, but I didn't. I had to go, I had to leave. It just had to get done by the other boys. So that was probably my biggest thing I was spewing about. But other than that, I think I've gave them what I could and helped out where I could, and I learned a lot off them, definitely, with regards to client relations and what you can achieve. In the construction business is astronomical, and if you have a good team together, you can actually fucking do so well. It's fantastic. So that really opened my eyes up to that situation. After that, I then had my inspection business, which was doing fuck all, maybe a couple of jobs every couple of weeks. As well as that, I was doing my own building projects. So I got my builder's license, went out, got work. How did I get work? I think I went to High Pages and got a couple of jobs. Got some jobs given to me from Scotty, who I used to work with, because he moved away. So just started pricing work and winning work. So did that, did heaps of small projects, bits and pieces here and there. Did a couple of bigger projects, like they were only probably 300K worth, 350, like not really big, just renovations and extensions, stuff like that. But they did really well. So during that process, I think I would have been, when's this, a few years ago, I come to the realisation, so I ran the projects, Woodend, Northcote was still my last 2 big projects. During that time, just before COVID's struck us all down, that's when I went through separation, and it was not a good time for me at that process. So work was the only thing I really had. Had 2 boys. We had Edward throughout that process as well. So I got 2 boys, Harrison and Edward, who are now 5 and 6, and they're the fucking best little bastards on the planet. I fucking love them to the ends of the earth. So all that hard work really, really paid off. So after that, after going through all that shit, which I don't recommend anyone do it, it's fucking horrible. And you lose half your shit, and it's not a good time, especially losing the kids for a period of time. Fuck, that's so shit. But throughout that process, I was sitting in bed one night and I realized that, like, I want to do something big in the world and really make an impact and do good so everyone's proud of me, and make sure the boys are proud of me and give something back to the boys, something that they can know that's always there. Generational wealth, I'd probably like to call it. So I sat there and I had the inspection business going, which I knew would be successful, as well as I had the construction company going, which I knew I could make it successful as well. But the issue I had is that I'm the business. So I always knew that I would have to be in the business. I would always have to run both companies, even though I get people to work for me. I can't sell it. I can't build up this asset because I'm the asset. There are some things I could have built it to a certain degree and sold it, but not for something that can give me ongoing return. So I thought to myself, all right, fuck it. I need to do something to build something to make an impact on this world and be who I want to be. And it was always in building construction, like and real estate industry, stuff like that, because this is all I fucking know and it's all I care about. So the idea for AusPropertyReport, which is this bad boy here, it came from the building inspection side of it. I knew there was more money in building inspections and that sort of industry because it's growing, as well as that it's a high ticket item. Like, we get paid. I charge $600 for a pre-purchase building inspection, which is very standard. Building and timber pest. I'm a licensed pest controller as well as a registered builder, and this takes me. If the house is easy, it might take me 2 hours to inspect it, write a report, and issue it to the client. Worst case scenario might be 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe. So this is something that I knew was a high ticket item, so it was worth doing. That being said, during that process, I did build an app within the inspection company to make it easy for me. It's like it's a whole automated booking system. So there is some value in that. I could have sold that, but it really wasn't worth it. So went into developing AusPropertyReport. AusPropertyReport is an online directory of building inspectors. It's also a booking platform for building inspectors. It does the books for building inspectors. It's a whole really inspection management system, which is free for inspectors, which is great. As well as that, it's also has the capacity to be a marketplace for building reports. So when you're an inspector and maybe you're doing a pre-sale inspection, so you've got a report available for a property that is on the market, you can make that a report available to purchase by buyers. So the buyer can purchase the report at a discounted rate, make an informed decision on the property, and then buy the fucking property, which is great. Other than that, also has a database of building reports. So when we onboard past inspectors, we get their past reports, and we'll create a database based on that. Now, this project has taken, we're at 2.5 years now into it, and it's one of the biggest projects that I've ever faced, and I'm still excited about it. And I've spent a lot of money getting it built and getting a good team together, which I'm very proud to say that they're fucking guns. And that's going to be launching in the next few months, which is exciting for me, something that I'm really looking forward to. And then pretty much that's it. It's going to be a business that can be sold. It's going to be a business that can be bought. It's going to be a business that can earn dividends. It's going to be a business that can run without me. So the reason why I've been pushing so hard with it, and I sort of pushed away from construction and the building inspection industry, is because I know it's the future and it can still help a lot of people. As well as that, sort of throughout that process, I have been doing this social media stuff. So the one thing that I really want to do is, as well as build a company that's going to change an industry, I also intend to help as many people as possible, because I genuinely want to help people. I know heaps of shit, and this is the subject I know. I know this sort of stuff, and I want to help people doing it. All right, don't get me wrong. I know some personal development stuff. I mentor some people every now and then, but this is the crust. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do some content, and I'm going to build an online social presence for two reasons. One, to help as many people as possible, and two, to give some validity to what we're building at AusPropertyReport and to me in general. So when people do come across what we're doing, they just realise there's just two Aussie blokes giving it a crack and building a company locally that they want to do some good. That's it. So that's why I spend the time doing this sort of stuff. When I realised that making content is very difficult, it's not a hard thing. It is a hard thing for people to actually get engaged on it and enjoy it. So I just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to keep doing this until it works. And it got to a certain point where, the content itself, the intention is to be informative, but also have a bit of fun with it. It gets there's a lot of heat. There's a lot of, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. Who the fuck are you? You're a flog, shit like that, which is, it's bizarre because they don't fucking know me, which is hilarious. But anyway, it is what it is. That's why I thought I'd make this video. So at least if anyone gives a shit, they can get through to this point and realise that I kind of know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm no expert. I don't know absolutely everything. There's a lot of other people that are much smarter than me, and I fucking get it. But there's a lot of other people, like I'm talking 85% of the population, have not a fucking clue about building construction. They're DIYers, they're property investors, they're all these types of people, and they have no clue. So the main audience that I'm looking to help is those people in particular. What I'm finding is a lot of trades and stuff like that are the ones that sort of comment on things like, oh, you can do it this way, do it that way, that's fucking stupid, you don't even talk about blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. I completely understand that. It's obviously the audience itself is meant to be for just the novice person, just to give them a better understanding of what's going on. So anyway, had a bit of fun with that, which is good. Yeah, podcast is more long form, informative stuff to actually like genuinely provide some value. The short form stuff also provides value, but with a bit of fun to it as well, because listening to construction talk is fucking boring. So we try and make it less shit, and we would continue to do that for fucking forever. Right now, we're in a good situation. Met a new bird. So from a personal point of view, the boys are fantastic. They're both going to be in school next year. Shacked up with Leah, a new bird that I met throughout the last couple of years, and that's been really good. Having someone around you that actually supports you and gives you drive and cares about what you're doing, and you can speak to and understands all the struggles and that sort of stuff. It's very nice. So that's it from a professional point of view. So I do building inspections now full time, which is only 3 days a week. And then I do AusPropertyReport, and then I also do the social media stuff. And I still have the construction company, which pretty much is a mate of mine. He does developments. I mentor him and help the boys out wherever they need. And we just do construction units and stuff. So that's good fun. Now, personally, there was a time when all I did was work my ass off, 6 days a week, had no time for myself. Any time that was spent was helping my ex-partner with the kids and be a good father, be a good role model, and help out where I could. So what that looked like was waking up at 4:50, getting home at 7, doing the baths, help with dishes, do the feeds at night, go back to bed, do it again. Now, I did that for many, many years. It was very, very difficult, very hard time. Anyone that has kids and says it's easy, fucking liars. They're fucking liars. But got 2 fucking great boys. They're fucking fantastic. But I didn't really have any hobbies back then because I had no time to do any hobbies. It was always a struggle for me to go out and do anything. So I was definitely out of shape. I was a skinny little runt. Fucking didn't eat. I was just surviving. That's probably the best way to put it. I was just doing whatever I can for my family and surviving, because I didn't earn a lot of money back then as well. So everything was fucking hard. To today, it's much different. So after going through the separation process, you lose half your money. You try to live on good terms, and people don't want to make it easy for you. So you just get stuck with what you get. I was very fortunate enough to have 50-50 custody of my boys, which the lawyer lady said to me was impossible if it went to family court. I want to add that family court can go fuck themselves. The treatment of men in the family court system is fucking disgraceful. Something that now I'm very passionate about, now that I'm aware of it, because I had no intention of getting divorced through that process, but I now understand some of the shit these men deal with, and it is very unfair, and unfair on the kids as well. The boys now have a great situation where they have 2 loving families, 2 loving households, 2 loving parents that can spend the time with them and be present with them without any sort of concern in the background, which is fantastic. So I'm very grateful for that. I was probably the best thing that has ever happened to me. After all that process occurred is when I started really getting a few more jobs in with my inspection business, which helped me financially. Which I'm very grateful for. The universe sort of just looked after me, which I'm so fucking lucky. So I busted my ass, smashed out those last couple of construction projects, got heavy into the inspection business, got great reviews, great referrals, helped a lot of people. Everyone was happy with the communication processes, the reports themselves, so I was stoked with that. And then thought, fuck it, I'm going to go do things for myself. So I put on about 15 kilos of muscle and probably a little bit of fat. I'm not a very tall person, so that changed me dramatically, and it only took 12 months. I don't know if it's fucking muscle memory, but I went to the gym, caught up with some old friends who I used to go to school with, and now we're fucking best of friends again, and we train together every single day, or every second day, as much as we can, which has been an absolute lifesaver. If you're ever gonna go through fucking hard times, or you're struggling or anything, do yourself a favor, join a fucking gym and push yourself, and just realize that if you do find yourself struggling, there's nothing wrong with pushing yourself to achieve greatness and to do things and to always push forward. The difficult part is if you don't push forward, you're stuck in a horrible space. You're depressed, or maybe someone dies, or maybe you obviously get divorced, or you have a breakup, or lose your job, whatever the fucking issue is, right? It's not a good place. If you stay in that place, you just have to sit and suffer until you do something else and move forward and get out of it. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to make myself look good, because I knew, you know what, I'm going to have to pick up some chicks again, so I'm going to have to not look like a fucking loser. So I did that, and it's been, again, that's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I wish I'd made it earlier, to be honest. It would have been fantastic. So I did that. And then I needed a hobby. So like I like going hiking and things like that. It's fantastic. I used to do a lot of forward driving, before that process, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So now I fly aeroplanes. I had a mate who I'm in business with now at the construction company. He had a plane, just a small little cool thing. And then he took me up. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to learn how to fly aeroplanes. So I've got my RPC, which is just, I can fly small aeroplanes with one passenger anywhere in Australia, which is cool. And that's my hobby now. So we've done trips, we've done 12 Apostles, I've done Central Australia, we did Kangaroo Island not long ago. And yeah, it's been really good. Throughout that process, take some holidays, do some scuba diving, do all that sort of shit, which I've thoroughly enjoy. And then now I'm in a certain situation where construction's going well, the inspection business is going fantastic. I know, like I learn every single day with the inspection stuff. The social media stuff's going really well, helping a lot of people. I know I've got to pivot a few things and be careful how I say things, because people get grumpy, which is completely fair and reasonable. Fantastic new partner, great family household. The AusPropertyReport is going live in the next sort of 3 months. Things are turning up. So that's where we're at to today. So more or less my experience has been building, and that's it. Carpentry forever, builder, commercial building, and then building inspections. So it's all I've ever known. It's all I ever want to know. It's all I really care about. I fucking love it. And I want to really teach a lot of people about all these types of things and provide some value wherever I can. So if you do genuinely enjoy this podcast and all the things that are associated with it, please head to comment any questions you need. Go on to Spotify, there's a Q&A section there. Put your questions there. DM me some questions. I'm happy to help whoever I can, because that's the goal I want to do. That's what I've said I'm going to do, and I'm a man of my word, and I intend to continue day by day. So thank you for this, listening to the end of this. If you got through all of this, you are a fucking psychopath, but good hustle. I hope you liked my story about who the fuck I am. And there'll be more stories to come, because I'm going to do some cool shit, and I'm going to show the world that an average person can actually make a big change. And I'm looking forward to it. So I will see you on the next one. Most likely the next episode will be, I don't know, might talk showers. I don't know, might talk something to help everyone out, but I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for your time. Take it easy. Hooroo. Let's work.